Welcome everyone! In this video, we are in the Halloween Cup, showcasing another very powerful team featuring Golisopod. Golisopod as the safe swap on this Halloween Cup team. Very versatile, a very solid generalist in the meta overall. And also in the back, we've got Golbat as our closer. Golbat and Carbink make for a very strong pairing in this meta, as Golbat protects Carbink, of course, from the fighters and the ground types. And Carbink on the lead protects Golbat, of course, from the electric types, ice types that may be lurking. We don't see too many, but they are on the rise. Carbink also covers the dragon types that have been on the rise in the Halloween Cup. Yeah, guys, to be completely honest, I had not thought about Golisopod, but I knew I wanted to run Carbink Golbat Core, and it fit right in as the safe swap. And speaking of, had a nightmare lead, S-Cavalier. We do safe swap our Golisopod, and they meet us with a Wormadam Trash. So this is the one bug steel type that can core break the Carbink Golbat Core. So I'm so glad to see it here. We do draw this out with our Golisopod, and Golisopod, like I said, a very versatile safe swap, puts in a lot of work, especially when it gets that slight energy lead on this safe swap. We're now grabbing shields from the Wormadam, and we make it to yet another liquidation here. This will KO, so yeah, they shield. That's amazing, guys. Look at Golisopod securing a 2 shield advantage for our team. I'm taking that 1000%. They go for a resistant Iron Head, and we don't quite make it to a move, but at this point, I'm reading triple bug steal. For some reason, I had an inkling that this was a triple bug steal team. I know there are a lot of dragons running rampant, so people might overcorrect and run a team such as triple bug steal. So I'm okay to tank that damage on Carbink, and it was indeed a triple bug steal team, guys. I always teach this in my Discord. You always have to be doing your very best to make the most accurate team read that you can. Golbat is going to sweep this game, guys. They gave up both shields in that mid-game matchup. I'm going to let this go. It's an aerial ace. That's okay. The one bug steel type that Golbat obviously doesn't perform best against is that Wormadam, so drawing that out was massive. Oh, they had no choice, but that did a lot of damage, that Shadow Ball. And we make it to yet another Shadow Ball, courtesy of our farm. And we are saying bye-bye to the Scizor, courtesy of Golbat, guys. The team read is what secured the win there and paid off big time. Good game, well played to them. Yeah, guys, I was really finding that Golisopod was drawing out the Wormadams that are often lurking in the back these days in the Halloween Cup. But here we go. Nightmare League going into Golisopod. That is the dedicated safe swap on this team. And they often stay in a little bit to chip you because they generally don't have a direct answer to a Golisopod. And I really debated on whether I should shield that or not. But I ended up not shielding. But we do draw out the Wormadam yet again. That is a brilliant for Golisopod. I don't know why, but they just often think that is their best answer to a Golisopod if they do have one. So drawing it out is always very nice. And we didn't throw with proper timing there. You always want to be throwing on odd numbers, and that might have cost us. That's why it's very important to always be throwing with proper timing if you can. We might have made it to another liquidation to put more pressure on this thing, but at this point, they've already got 2 amazing answers to our Carbink. We're just going to throw it in here to absorb damage at this point and put it all on Golbat. We'll have to tank a super effective Confusion in the process, but that's okay. We have the shield advantage, and we're just going to trust in Golbat to maybe bring this home for us. They come back in with the Greninja, and I do imagine Greninja's going to be hitting us the hardest. It generally is the hardest hitting Pokemon on any given team. So, and we don't know what the third is. So we're going to go for this Poison Fang here on the Greninja. They let it go as they know that they can survive it. And they've got a Clefable in the back. So when I saw that, normally you would be quite giddy to see something like this. But Clefable is a Pokemon, much like Greninja, that can apply very, very intense charge or shield pressure to your team. So I was not giddy to see this fairy here. Perhaps if it were a Charmer, but this one is very spammy and hits very hard and can grab shields. So right about here, I knew it was over because that Greninja is going to make it to a move, and we are definitely within Hydro Cannon range. So Yeah, maybe, I think not throwing a proper timing, but I don't think that cost us the game. Perhaps shielding the Night Slash at the beginning, but yeah, good game, well played to them. Yeah, guys, Carbink Golbat core about as solid as it gets. You pair those two with a very versatile safe swap, you've got a very strong team. And holy smokes, we had a Zweilous and they safe swap a Charjabug. Oh my gosh, how core broken are they by a Carbink lead? You'd love to see it. That's why we're leading with it. So many people are busting out these dragons in the Halloween Cup. I just saw a very glaring opportunity for a Carbink lead, guys. So here we are. You can just farm this thing all the way down. So we make a mistake here triggering the CMP, but I think I got so excited seeing the Carbink, I slightly lost track of their energy. But you shouldn't be throwing a move on this thing anyways, even if you do. But I don't know what they have in the back, and I really don't want Carbink getting too low. It's a Wormadam, so it's a good thing that we did preserve a little bit of health on our Carbink here. We are now in on this Zweilous here with our Golisopod, and that X-Scissor does a lot of damage here. So we're going to let all this go. Of course, Golisopod kind of did the job for Carbink, getting this thing extremely low. That's why we're running X-Scissor in this meta for all of the dark types. And even if you find yourself up against, like a Dragalge or a Jellicent, the resisted damage is often meaningful as Golisopod hits quite hard. We did KO the Zweilous there because I didn't want to have to tank a resisted move because I knew that Carbink was going to have to put in a lot of work up against this Wormadam here. But we do still have shields, and we will expend all of the shields here on this low health Carbink to get this Wormadam within a manageable health range for our Golbat and perhaps grab that final shield. And we are going with the non-shadow. I was really considering the shadow. The non-shadow is only slightly preferred, but with the rise of Wormadam, guys, it definitely tanks these confusions a lot better, if you can imagine. So we don't want to give them any more farm than necessary. So we rip the Band-Aid off, we pivot into our Golbat, and we do make it to the Shadow Ball in time. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we get to this, and we are saying bye-bye to the Wormadam. Courtesy of Golbat, can be quite the closer in the meta, guys, and we saw proof of it there. That's going to be a good game, well played. Yeah, I really didn't know what to expect from Golisopod coming into it on this team, but it put in work as the safe swap. And here we go. We had an amazing Charjabug lead. They safe swap a Jellicent, and we're actually going to meet this with our Golbat. Golbat is going to be your best Jellicent answer on this team. They are slightly ahead by one turn on energy here, and we do shield out of caution because we would really like to flip switch. Charjabug is obviously really bad for our backline, so we're going to go straight Shadow Ball here in this matchup. And they do shield. You never know if they just want to take the shield advantage. We showed them and gave them an early shield advantage, so I thought, why not go right for the Shadow Ball? But they shield. They want to hold on to switch as well. And we do survive a Shadow Ball from this thing quite comfortably, especially as a non-shadow. So that's another case to be made for the non-shadow. Like I said, it is slightly preferred in this meta, and I did like having the extra bulk with this particular team. As you can see, we survived that, but they aggressively pivot, locking their Charjabug back in. So we go for this Poison Fang, and that Volt Switch does take us out, but that's okay. It's just going to make it so that Carbink doesn't have to tank too much of these moves here from the Charjabug. Shields are down on both ends. We don't know what they have lurking in the back, and we're just going to rock throw that thing down. The Jelly is still relatively healthy as they did aggressively pivot, but we have loaded energy here, and we're going to go for the Moonblast here on the Jelly. It won't quite KO. But I'm going to gauge and see how low it gets. Gets it within sniping range, and we snipe it right off the field, denying them the energy, and they've got a Runerigas in the back. Holy smokes, this is over! So that's another advanced technique, knowing health ranges and knowing if you can successfully snipe a Pokemon and deny them the energy. So we were able to pull that off here. We survive a Shadow Ball. We're not completely made of paper. We've got about Sableye bulk, and a Shadow Claw does take out that Runerigus. Holy smokes, Golisopod putting in work to close strong. Good game, well played to them. Guys, there is something to be said for an excellent generalist in any given meta, and Golisopod fits the bill for sure. And here we go, positive lead, Golbat here on our Carbink. You love to see it. And they're staying in a little bit, which leads me to believe that they're perhaps a little bit core broken by a Carbink lead, which is why, again, I saw a very glaring opportunity to run a Carbink lead here today. Gonna go for the rock slide here. They seem to be in here for the long haul, maybe looking to soft lose lead, so we will oblige, but they shield. Very interesting. So something in the back really does not want to see a Carbink, but we know even debuffed, we take a Shadow Ball, no problem. And they've got a Haunter in the back. Holy smokes. That's the last thing I was expecting to see here. But we all know Haunter, much like Gengar, hits like an absolute truck. Hits about as hard as a Pokemon can. So we do shield that successfully. That would have done boatloads of damage, and we do successfully farm down. In hindsight, I think a double resisted X-Scissor would have done the trick on this low health Golbat, but we make extra sure and go for the liquidation, and they have an Umbreon remaining. So don't do this, guys. If you're on an Umbreon, just go for the super effective X-Scissor, but we try our luck on a debuff and we don't get it. And they're going to throw before we can hit them with another move. But yeah, guys, any dark type, just go for the super effective X-Scissors. It's going to be much more beneficial to you in the long run. But now we are in a good commanding position despite our health range. Those of you who play Carbink and you find yourself locked onto an Umbreon or any dark type, you will know that this is a very, very good health range. And we do get the Moonblast attack drop. That is fantastic. Gonna let one of these moves go here. And we could let this next move go, but I don't think we'll need shields, especially seeing that very clutch attack fall from the Moonblast here. We're just gonna look to get in as much damage and put as much pressure on them to throw as possible. And now Golbat is in the driver's seat, primed to close this thing with ease here. Umbreon doesn't hit hard to begin with, and with an attack drop, it's making it even harder for Umbreon to do anything against our Golbat. They realize that. They top left. Good game, well played to them. All of the moving parts on this Halloween Cup team complement each other beautifully. And here we go. Toxicroak lead. Very bad lead. This one's running Mudshot. Holy smokes. Very interesting to see. I don't recommend it. I know it's spammy, but generally you're going to be wanting counter and any meta just about. But they counter swap us with a Dragalge, and you guys are going to see the power of Golisopod in the Halloween Cup. I told you. It hits like a truck, and even resisted damage often proves to be quite meaningful in a lot of these matchups. We're now drawing shields. We get the defense drop. They see that and decide to throw energy here. And that is okay. We should survive an Aqua Tail, but I don't think we'll make it to another move. We just don't, and that's okay. We're going to take the shield advantage. That's what you want from a good safe swap, guys, to either outright flip switch or secure a shield advantage for your team. And that is precisely what Golisopod did. We're now going to throw Carbink in here and absorb these Aqua Tails from the Dragalge, and we're just going to go for the farm down here. As you can see, although super effective, Carbink tanks them for days, quite literally, up against something like a Dragalge. We do get that farm down. We have a shield advantage for our Golbat, and now we draw out a Toxapex here. So this is okay, guys. If you're ever met with a Toxapex, if someone ever safe swaps a Toxapex, and you happen to be running this team, you'll always want to be meeting it with your Golbat. You always want Golbat on a Toxapex if you happen to run this team here. So that is precisely what we have here. Going to go for a Shadow Ball here on the Toxapex. It can tank multiple Shadow Balls, as we can see, but they do get them quite low. And this is what's going to be hitting us the hardest, ironically, as Toxapex does not hit very hard at all. But we hardwall everything that Toxicroak can possibly throw at us. So we're just going to expend the shields here. Farm down this Toxapex, and we've got loaded energy to threaten this Toxicroak. And like I said, we hardwall Toxicroak like you wouldn't believe. Although, yeah, it does hit like a truck, so it does begin to add up, but we're fine here. Gonna go for the Poison Fang bait, successfully grabbing that shield, and we should make it to another Poison Fang. They're not at another Sludge Bomb. And a single resisted Mud Bomb's not going to cut it, allowing us to get off another Poison Fang here on the Toxicroak. They're already debuffed. It is resisted, but Toxicroak, not known for its bulk, and that has sealed the deal for us. We can now easily just Rock Throw down. They don't want to see their fate play out. They knew it was not trending in the right direction. So good game, well played to them. I had a lot of fun with this team today. It put in a lot of work in the Halloween Cup. And here we go. A Charger Bug lead. You love to see it with Carbink. They safe swap a Golurk. So guys, there's a team running rampant right now. It is Charjabug double Ghost in the back. Not only double Ghost, but double Ground Ghost with a Golurk for sure, generally, and either a Runerigus or a Palisand. So we were making that read, and generally if they safe swap the Golurk, you'll want the Golbat on it, but this is fine as well. Golurk, of course, about as squishy as it gets. Goes down to a resisted X-Scissor, expecting the Charjabug to come back in, and you can generally go straight X-Scissor, but if you're only going to make it to one move, you really want to be going for the liquidation. So slight misplay there, but we're still absolutely fine. We've maintained alignment here, and we're just going to Rock Throw that thing until they swap out into a Nidoqueen. So not the exact team, but I can assure you that team is quite prevalent. But we were going to do fine anyways with Golbat on Nidoqueen, and they know that, so they top left. Good game, well played to them. So yeah, guys, if you're wondering, this team 1000% gets my stamp of approval. It was putting in work, especially when you get a lead like that. We had a Sableye, hello, and they safe swap an Azu, so we had just the answer for Azu in the back, coming in the form of Golbat. Golbat, not the best poison type to meet an Azu with, but yeah, it's still good enough. Make no mistake about that. So we're fine here. Just going to shield this up. We don't need shields as Carbink thoroughly dominates Sableye. They did let our Poison Fang go, so we're just going to farm to the max here, throw with proper timing on 7, and I don't anticipate a shield here. We say bye-bye to the Azu, and they do come back in with the Sableye, and because we thought ahead, got that nice overfarm with proper timing, we're now able to make it to a Shadow Ball. Does big damage to the Sableye, and I don't imagine they will allow us to get to another move. They do not. They throw here. That's okay. And Golisopod can even put in work up against Sableye, so this is absolutely fine. And oh, they've got a Grand Bull in the back. That's what they were saving those shields for. Holy smokes. But I think we're going to be fine. Gonna go for this liquidation. Shadow Grand Bull made of tissue paper, and the fast move pressure alone has gotten this thing at 50% health. That's all we needed. And they're only gonna make it to one move, as these rock throws are absolutely shredding the very squishy Shadow Grand Bull here. We just shield this. We don't need shields for Sableye. We absolutely hardwall Sableye's conventional moveset, and it is smooth sailing from here. And just go for the rock slide, see if they want to put up a fight. They do. That's okay. We, like I said, much like with Umbreon, we hardwall the conventional moveset on Sableye, and they just don't throw their move, and they get rock thrown down. So good game, well played to them. Not only was this team a lot of fun, but it was really good. Addresses a lot of what we see right now in the Halloween Cup. But here we go. We don't address that lead, Toxapex, with our Carbink, so we safe swap into our Golisopod, and they meet us with a Mandibuzz. So very good counter swap by them. Gonna go for the liquidation. I didn't look this matchup up, but I would guess that straight X-Scissor is the way to go. Slightly more energy efficient, but we just go for the liquidations here. I think either way you're fine. It's still not a flippable matchup either way. Might as well tack on some debuffs if you can, but they do take us out, realizing that they are getting quite low. And we're going to bring in our Carbink, of course, here and just farm this thing all the way down. Again, Carbink up against the dark types, about as dominant as it gets. So satisfying. They can throw whatever they want. Maybe an argument to run Shadow Ball in this meta for the Carbinks, but that is a moot point. The Mandy is gone. Back in comes the Toxapex. Gonna just chip this with a Rock Slide because Golbat is our best matchup, but it can become a bit tedious. They don't stick around for Golbat. They've got a Skuntank lurking in the back here. So Poison double Dark Line. Very classic here. Gonna go Poison Fang and then Shadow Ball. That's generally what you'll want to do against a poison dark type. Of course, it's all hard walled, but debuffing is generally going to make it a lot easier for you. Because even from this range, if we hadn't debuffed, we would not be saying bye-bye to the Skuntank. They just let that go. That was insane to see. But they were putting a lot of hope and faith, it seems, into this Toxapex. Gonna shield this. Carbink can tank the brines a lot better, ironically, than Golbat. That is just how insane Carbink is. And we want to get some debuffs off and get some fast move pressure on this very tanky Toxapex here. We will survive this brine, and we just want to debuff this thing into oblivion. They're not shielding anything, so might as well make it easier for Carbink with some debuffs. And if they let this go, it's all over. But if they don't, it's still all over. They recognize they let a few too many moves go through. They were not shielding when they perhaps should have. But yeah, maybe zigged when they should have zagged there a little bit. But they do top left. Good game, well played to them. And how about it, guys? Holy smokes, 5-0 with this Golisopod team. I'm telling you, I wasn't kidding. It was putting in quite a bit of work this morning in the Halloween Cup. I wanted to run a Carbink lead because everyone seems to be running Dragons or Charjabug on the lead. So I wanted to pick up those leads with Carbink. And I knew Golbat covered Carbink's weaknesses quite well. They cover each other very, very well. One of the stronger cores you can run in this meta. So I was just left with a decision on a safe swap. I was just thinking, and I saw an opportunity with Golisopod. I really didn't know what to expect, but once that thing got going, guys, holy smokes, was it good. It's actually quite versatile as a safe swap. Because it can get that energy lead and hits like an absolute truck, can apply intense shield pressure to your opponents or just outright flip switch, which is all you want to ask for from a good safe swap. You pair that with a very powerful core, guys, that's a recipe for a lot of success and a lot of fun in the Halloween Cup. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.